Good morning, Gus. Today we shall be talking about a few terminologies related to internet since we have already started with how to create your basic website on through HTML. So before that you need to understand what is internet, what is URL, what is client, what is server, what is web page. So these are the few terminologies that I am sharing with all of you. So you can go through this video, and if there is anything that you are not able to understand, then you can always get back to me. So let me share my screen with you. So I hope this document is visible to all of you. The first terminology that we need to understand is a browser. So what is a browser? Browser is a piece of software such as Mozilla or the Internet Explorer which allows a computer to access any sort of documents. So if you remember when I was giving you a demo for an HTML web page, I specifically opened up the code. If let's say for example this is my particular code that I want to open up. So I always say open with. So the browser can either be Firefox, can either be Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Safari, right? So these are the few browsers. So what is a browser? Browser is basically the software which enables us to see our web pages, our websites, our documents. So for viewing all these things, we require what? We require a browser. So this definition you always should remember that it allows one particular computer to display the documents, to view the pictures, to hear sound, and to even view the clips from the World Wide Web, right? So this is the first term that all of you need to remember. So this browser can either be Mozilla or can either be Internet Explorer. If you don't have a browser on your system, then you would not be able to access or you would not be able to view the HTML web pages or any particular website. आप फोन पे भी अगर अपनी वेबसाइट को एक्सेस करते हैं तो you always need to have a browser on your phone also, right? Now, next terminology that you need to understand is URL. What is URL? For accessing any particular site, like let's say for example I'm trying to access this IS University website. So for accessing any particular site, I always have to type in the URL of that particular website, which is like let's say for example csit.isunif.ac.in. So if you see over here, this CSIT stands for the Department of Computer Science and IT. ISUNIF is the name of the website. AC stands for academic and IN stands for India. So these two things they are together a part of the domain. I will even tell you what is the domain. So URL is basically made up of two things. One is a protocol, which can either be HTTP or FTP, right? I'll even tell what is the purpose of hypertext transfer protocol. Then you have two forward slashes, then the name of the site, followed by the domain. So this entire address that you type in for searching for one particular website is called as the URL. So whenever you want to access any particular website, you have to remember that you type in the URL of that particular website. So what is a URL? A URL is an addressing scheme which is used to locate a particular resource or a particular service on the World Wide Web. So, when we want to search for one particular website over the World Wide Web, what is World Wide Web? It is the server where all your web pages are stored. So, whenever we have to search for any particular website, we need to know the URL of that particular website, right? So, this is the example that I have already shown to you. So when I say csit.isunif.ac.in, it will take me to what? It will take me to the Department of Computer Science and IT, which has been created over the ISUNIF website, right? So this is what is the purpose of URL. Now, the first part of the URL is the HTTP, right? HTTP यहाँ पे अगर आप देख रहे हो तो URL का first part is the protocol which is used to access that particular website, right? So what is the purpose of hypertext transfer protocol? Whenever we want to transfer a web page from client to server, there are two terminologies. One is client, another is server. You all, since you are requesting for one particular website, you all would be called as clients, and the place where your websites are created, that particular places, or where your websites are stored, that particular place is called as the server, right? So as a client you are accessing the website, and the server is the place from where those websites are being transferred. So when we want to get access to our websites from the server, we need to know the URL of that particular website, right? So three terms we have learned. Browser is the software through which we would be able to access the web page. For accessing that particular web page, we need to know the URL of that particular website. So that URL is, this is how the URL looks to be. The first part of the URL is the hypertext transfer protocol. Hypertext transfer protocol is basically a set of rules by which the web pages are transferred across the internet. So I hope these three terms are clear to you. Now, this particular URL was consisting of domain name. So what all domains do we have? Domain is basically the unique address through which that particular website is going to be identified. Like this is an example weather.com, this is an example isunif.ac.in or gmail.com, right? Or there are various other domains. These are all the examples. If you're talking about any commercial site, so it's going to have com. If it's an educational site, it will have edu. If it's a government agency, it will have gov. Military based site will have MIL, networks will have NET, and organizations will have ORG. So these basically are the domain names which any particular website can have. Now these domain names we have to purchase, right? So depending upon the kind of website that we have created, accordingly we can place that particular website on a particular domain, right? There are other domains also, like Arrow is for air transport industry, BIS is for businesses, COOP is for cooperatives, and IF info is for unrestricted use, right? Plus museum is for museums, pro is for accountants and lawyers, and TV is for television, right? Now, there are a few countries which even use subdomain, like over here we are saying ac.in. So what does it mean? It means that the Department of Computer Science inside the IS University, which is academic website, placed in India, right? Similarly, we can say Amazon.com. That means it's a commercial website. Or we can say Amazon.in. That means Amazon, which is placed in India. Or we can say Amazon.uk. That means Amazon website, which is running inside UK, right? So this is the codomain which is used to specify the country which is associated with that particular site, right? Now, so I hope the concept of domain name is clear to all of you. So whenever we are creating any particular website, for hosting that particular website on the server, firstly we have to decide that what kind of website is it going to be, and accordingly we can purchase that particular domain, and that particular kind of website is going to be created. Like if we have created a commercial website, then we need to purchase a .com domain, and then that particular website is going to be created as a commercial website. Now, whenever we are opening one particular website, the first web page that opens up is called as the home page. So when I type in over here isunif.ac.in, So this particular page, the first page that has opened up when I typed in this particular URL is called as the home page, right? So all of you are what? All of you are acting as clients. Clients have sent the request to हम have sent the request to the server. Server को कौन सी वेबसाइट के लिए आपने रिक्वेस्ट किया? isunf.ac.in के लिए, right? The request has been forwarded to the server. Server extracted that particular website for you and has returned the first page of the website, which is called as the home page. So the first web page that is going to open up when we are accessing any particular website is called as the home page, right? Now, whenever we click on any particular like this is a link, right? How do we know that it is a link? Because when you will click on one particular link, this hand shaped icon is going to come, plus it is going to be underlined. So when you are going to click on this particular link, you would be diverted to some other page where that particular information is going to be available for you, right? So what is the purpose of link? Link is an underlined word, a phrase, or a graphics which transports the reader to additional information on the internet. So whenever we have to open up any particular page, we need to have what? We need to have a particular link of that particular पेज, राइट? सो आप अगर यहाँ पे होम पेज पे किसी भी पर्टिकुलर लिंक पे क्लिक करोगे, लाइक दिस इज अगेन इज अ लिंक, सो व्हेन आई विल क्लिक ऑन दिस, अगेन आई वुड बी डाइवर्टेड टू सम अदर पेज, राइट? So this is what is the purpose of link. Now these two terminologies again you need to understand. With the help of HTML, what are we doing? With the help of HTML, we are designing web pages. So what is the web page? Web page is a single hypertext file or a particular page which is a part of a website, right? So what is a website? Website is a collection of files, right? So this particular URL is the address of one particular website, and when we click on any particular link, the page to which we are diverted, like this is the particular page to which we are diverted, this is called as what? This is called as a web page. So ये पूरा address आपका website का address है. At the moment you will click on any particular link, you would be diverted where? You would be diverted to one particular web page, right? So these two terminologies have to be very clear to you. आपने जो HTML में अपने basic web pages बनाए हैं, these are all what? These are all web pages. And finally, towards the end of this paper, what you would be able to create is a complete website, right? So अभी आप अपने individual web pages बना रहे हो, then you would be linking those web pages through the various links that you would be learning, internal and external links you would be learning to create, and then you would get diverted where? You would get diverted to the individual web pages, right? So अभी आपने website नहीं बनाई है, अभी आप क्या बना रहे हो? You are just creating individual web pages, and when you would link those web pages, it would become a part of what? It would become a part of a complete website. So I hope these two terms are clear to you. Now, another term that you need to understand over here is when we want access to internet, we need to have what? We need to have a internet service provider, like Jio is there, Airtel is there. So these are the various internet service providers. So internet service provider is basically an organization which provides us services for accessing, using, or participating in the internet. So when we are wanting to do any task over the internet, until unless we have internet, we would not be able to perform that task. So for getting access to the internet, we need to contact whom? We need to contact the internet service provider. So आप जियो का connection लो, एयरटेल का connection लो, या whichever connection you want to take, but you need to have access to what? You need to have access to the internet service provider, right? Now, another terminology that you are going to understand is protocols. What is protocols? whenever we are communicating between client and server, as a client, you are requesting for a particular website. That request is going to whom? It's going to the server. Server is extracting that particular website for you and it is displaying the first homepage of the website to you, right? So when the request is getting transferred, so for transferring the request from client to server, it is making use of what? It is making use of the protocols, right? So the first protocol which you had learned was this HTTP protocol. इसको अगर आप पूरा click करोगे तो you would be able to see this is the first protocol that I had already told you, that for communication between your client and server, we need to have this particular protocol, that is hypertext transfer protocol. Apart from this, there is another protocol which is file transfer protocol. If you are uploading or downloading any particular file over the internet, so that thing can be done with the help of this file transfer protocol. So आप अगर इंटरनेट पे कोई भी फाइल अपलोड करोगे या डाउनलोड करोगे, so for that particular task, the protocol that we are going to use is the file transfer protocol, right? So two protocols you have learned till now. One is hypertext transfer protocol. Another is the file transfer protocol. There is one more protocol, that is internet protocol, that I'll tell you in the next class, that what is the purpose of internet protocol, right? Now, the last terminology is email. Email, I'm sure all of you already know that whenever we want to transfer messages from one person to another, so those messages can be transferred through email, right? And what is the benefit of working with email? Is that the messages are sent instantaneously anywhere in the world. So, if I have a relative of mine who is staying abroad, and I want to transfer the message to that particular person, so that message can be transferred instantaneously with the help of email, right? So if you are going to see your syllabus first unit, the first unit has all these terminologies that I have covered up today. I am again revising. The first terminology is client. Client is the entity who is requesting for a particular web page or a particular website. So you all, whenever you would access any particular website, you all are called as what? You all are called as clients. The request is being forwarded to whom? The request is being forwarded to the server. Server fetches that particular web page or that particular website and displays it to whom? Displays it to you, right? So you as clients request for a particular website, the server accesses that particular website for you and displays the particular page. The first page that is going to open up is called as the home page, right? Now, for accessing any particular website, you need to know the URL of that particular website. So, when we say https csit.isunif.ac.in, so this entire link is called as what? It is called as the URL of that particular website. The last part of the URL is always the domain name. This domain name can either be .com or .edu or .gov depending upon the kind of website that you're trying to create, right? Now, once the request is reaching the server will pick up that particular web page and will display it to you. So when we are requesting for a particular website, and what do we get in return? We get a particular web page, the first home page, and when we are going to click on the individual links, we can get diverted to the individual web pages, right? The entity that we need to ensure to get a connection to the internet is the internet service provider like Jio or Airtel. Apart from the hypertext transfer protocol, we can make use of the file transfer protocol also, but file transfer protocol is used for transferring, that is only when we are uploading or downloading files. So that is the only time when FTP is going to come into existence. Otherwise, majority of the times by default, the protocol that you are going to use is HTTP. Now, another thing though, it has not been covered up, but what you need to understand over here is when we are saying HTTPS. So this HTTPS is meaning secure. So that means whatever information you are going to enter on this particular website, that information is secure, it's encrypted, and no one would be able to hack that particular information, right? Now there is one more terminology, that is IP address. So IP address क्या होता है? Whenever we type in the URL of that particular website, हमारे लिए URL है, but for the server, what is important is the IP address. So whenever we type in the URL of that particular website, so server क्या करता है? Server URL को IP address में convert करता है, and IP address is a place where that particular website is existing. It is picked up from that particular IP address, and it is displayed back to you. So basically, it is a address, or it's a unique number which is used to identify that particular site, and this unique number is composed of uh, numbers, four separate parts, and these separate parts are separated by periods, right? So for you, you need to know what? You need to know the URL, but for the server needs to know what? The server needs to know the IP address. So the moment we type in this particular URL, it is converted into its corresponding IP address, and this particular IP address से आपकी पर्टिकुलर वेबसाइट फेच होती है और वो फिर आपको डिस्प्ले हो जाती है, right? So I hope all these terminologies are clear to you. So what all things did we cover today? Client, server, browser, URL, domain name, IP address, and protocols. And protocols, two protocols we covered up, that is HTTP and FTP. Plus, we even covered up what is a website and what is a web page. So when we are doing HTML, so what we are creating web pages. And at last, what we'll be able to do, we would be able to create our own websites, which is going to be the connection of your individual web pages. So I hope all of you are clear with today's lecture. If there is anything that you want to ask in today's lecture, you can always get back to me, and you can always ask any sort of doubts, right? So this is where I'm ending today's class. Thank you so much.